I nursed my daughter for over 2 years with no period. Here's what I did to get it back. I felt like I was doing everything right for over 2 years. I ate well. I worked out every day. I nursed my daughter onto me. And it wasn't until I stopped one thing accidentally that I actually understood the signal my body was waiting for. Here's what nobody tells you. Your body isn't making one decision about ovulation. It's running a calculation. And for a lot of women, especially women who are structured, maybe type A if you're like me, health conscious, doing all the things the internet tells you should do, the answer keeps coming back no. And not because something is broken, but because your body doesn't quite feel safe enough to say yes. Let me back up. As the months postpartum with no period ticked by, I became concerned and I started digging. And what I found is that most of the conversation around this stuck on just one variable: nurse less. And yes, prolactin rises during breastfeeding, and that suppresses the hormonal cascade that leads to ovulation. That's real biology. But that's only one input. Your body is simultaneously asking, do I have enough energy to support a pregnancy right now? And what is the total stress load that I'm carrying? 3 levers. Most women are only thinking about one. So for me, lactation wasn't the limiting factor. My daughter was 2, nursing multiple times a day, still waking in the night, nursing. I didn't change that. What I changed, some things intentionally, some unintentionally, were the other 2 levers. So lever 1, energy. Breastfeeding a toddler has a real caloric cost. I wasn't accounting for it. Not in an obvious way. I wasn't dieting or restricting or skipping meals, but I also wasn't giving my body a clean signal that resources were abundant. I ate 3 good, fairly large meals a day, and with the busyness of life, that meant 4, 5, 6+ hours between meals. So, first thing I changed was I started to eat more. I added more healthy fats. I made a point to eat 2 avocados per day, not because avocados are special in any specific way, but just because it was the easiest way to add healthy fats without overthinking it. I could toss them in a smoothie, put it on toast, etc. And here's what told me my body actually needed that. I didn't gain weight. When you add that many calories and you don't gain weight, it means your body's using it. I also ran an experiment on coffee. I noticed I was enjoying my caffeine in the morning before eating anything. And there's something worth knowing about caffeine here. Caffeine stimulates cortisol, which can temporarily mask low energy. It also can mess with the stress response system that you're trying to bring down to a lower baseline. So I ran an experiment, and after eating a large savory breakfast, I waited a few hours and then I had the coffee. And what I learned was that fuzzy, foggy feeling that I usually took as a signal that I needed caffeine was actually my body asking for more energy. It wasn't screaming, I'm hungry, feed me. I didn't feel hungry. It was just saying, hey, I need a little more energy. I don't have a lot of reserves. So without the coffee, I was able to read my body's hunger or energy signals more easily. I realized I needed to eat about every 3 hours when I was nursing at that frequency. Lever 2 was the stress load. I was working out intensely every morning, 60 to 90 minutes, mostly every day. As I was thinking about this metabolic calculation, I knew exercise had to be a factor, so I tried to scale back. But I didn't scale back enough. I was still showing up, still pushing, because I guess I couldn't help it. So I had been trying to exercise less and incorporate more gentle movements. But it wasn't until I got a back injury and I had no choice but to really stop for a month. It was just physical therapy type exercises. Light walking was actually hard at first, but I did manage to do that eventually. So there wasn't intensity, there wasn't output goals, there was just small amounts of movement. And within that month, my period came back. Not from just adding calories, not from just spacing my meals, from stopping. And I've thought about this a lot since, because it's a hard thing to sit with if you're a high-functioning person. You can be doing everything right and still be asking too much of your body at the same time. The intention is good, the execution is good, but the math doesn't work out. And your body is doing the math. I had also been using a hormone tracker during this time, so I could track what my hormones were doing over time. And they started out pretty flat, and then I could see some things jumping. And actually, the first sign of getting my period back was my libido was increasing. And that was below the floor for like 2 years. And also, I started to feel more energized, more like myself, more even just like optimistic. I wasn't depressed or anything, but there was like this cloud kind of lifting. It was very strange. That was several months before I got my period back, but I could see that my hormones were starting to do something monthly. It just wasn't as pronounced as it became later. Hopefully you don't hear my baby in the background. He woke up and he's talking to me from the monitor. So it was interesting because I could see those fluctuations and I could tell my body was trying, but it wasn't until that extra stress load came down that it came back. And as I mentioned, the timeline on this, it wasn't a quick fix. I had to start experimenting and it took some time. But the actual return of my period came within weeks of pulling back on the exercise. So 2 years postpartum, wanting another baby and no cycle. Everyone around you is focused on the wrong lever. It can feel like your body is failing you, but it's not. It's protecting you. It's waiting for the signal that it's safe to move forward. And that signal might not be what you think it is. And one more thing, because I was genuinely not prepared for this. When your cycle comes back, the first few may be irregular. That's expected. But my second cycle especially, it felt alarming. It was long. It was several weeks. It was heavy, long, painful, awful. It was so bad that I thought I might actually be pregnant, but I took those fancy, early detection tests for weeks and they were all negative. So anyway, as your body is reestablishing its normal hormone cadence, things can be a little intense. It needs a few cycles to find its footing again. I'm going to go deeper on that in another video because it deserves its own explanation. If you want the full framework on what I did to get my period back while breastfeeding, grab the link in the description and hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next.